a book called Old Turtle, and we'll have this and a couple of other poems. And so before I start reading, let's just come together in the field of union by putting your right hand over your heart and your left hand over your high heart, and breathe into that deep heart space and connect with a golden light, grounding from through your body, from your crown chakra through your feet, and come together to hear these words: open and receive. So this is Old Turtle by Douglas Wood. Once, a long, long time ago, yet somehow not so very long, when all the animals and rocks and winds and water and trees and birds and fish and all the beings of the world could speak and understand one another, there began an argument. It began softly at first, quiet as the first breeze that whispered, "He is a wind who is never still." Quiet as the stone that answered, "He is a great rock that never moves." Gentle as the mountain that rumbled, "God is a snowy peak high above the clouds." And the fish in the ocean that answered said, "God is a swimmer in the dark blue depths of the sea." "No," said the star twinkling, "God is a twinkling and shining and far, far away." "No," replied the ant, "God is a sound and a smell and a feeling who is very, very close." "God," insisted the antelope, "is a runner, swift and free, who loves to leap and race with the wind." "She is a great tree," murmured the willow, "a part of the world, always growing, always giving." "You're wrong," argued the island. "God is separate and apart." "God is like the shining sun, far above all things," added the blue sky. "No, he's a river who flows through the very heart of things," thundered the waterfall. "She is a hunter," roared the lion. "God is gentle," chirped the robin. "He is powerful," growled the bear. And the argument grew louder and louder and louder until, "Stop!" a new voice spoke. It rumbled loudly like thunder, and it whispered softly like butterfly sneezes. The voice seemed to come from Old Turtle. Old Turtle hardly ever said anything, and certainly never argued about God. "She is the life of the world," Turtle said to the willow, "always close by, yet beyond the farthest twinkling light." She told the ant and the star, "God is gentle and powerful, above all things and within all things. God is all that we dream of and all that we seek," said Old Turtle. "All that we come from and all that we can find. God is." Old Turtle had never said so much before. All of the beings of the world were surprised and became very quiet. But Old Turtle had one more thing to say. There will soon be a new family of beings on the world, she said. They will be strange and wonderful. They will be reminders of all that God is. They will come in many shapes and colors, with many different faces and different ways of speaking. Their thoughts will soar to the stars, but their feet will walk on the earth. They will possess many powers. They will be strong yet tender. A message of love from God to the earth, and a prayer from the earth back to God. And the people came. But the people forgot. They forgot that they were a message of love and a prayer from the earth. And they began to argue about who knew God and who did not, and where God was and was not, and whether God was or was not. And often the people misused their powers and hurt one another or killed one another, and they hurt the earth. Until finally even the forest began to die, and the rivers and the oceans and the plants and the animals and the earth itself. Because the people could not remember who they were or where God was. Until one day there came a voice like the growling of thunder, but as soft as butterfly sneezes. Please stop. The voice seemed to come from the mountain who rumbled. Sometimes I see God swimming in the dark blue depths of the sea. From the ocean who sighed, he's often among the snow-capped peaks reflecting the sun. From the stone who said, I sometimes feel her breath as she blows by. And from the breeze who whispered, I feel his still presence as I dance among the rocks. And the stars declared, God is very close. And the island added, his love touches everything. And after a long, lonesome, and scary time, the people listened and began to hear and to see God in one another and in all the beauty of the earth. And Old Turtle smiled, and so did God. So I'm just going to transition from Old Turtle to 13th century Sufi mystic, one of my favorite sources of wisdom. It's Rumi. And this is Rumi, The Path of Love. And before I came down this morning to start this, I drew a card with the intention of this being our group card today. And it's card number 41. And it says, water doesn't lose purity because of a bit of weed. The weeds float on the surface. The pure water flows on undisturbed. And the greater understanding is, don't allow your relationship to be poisoned by a superficial problem that is like a weed floating on the surface of pure water. All too often our problems seem to grow in size just because our focus on them is too narrow and too intense. Our egos become involved. We become attached. And soon, what was initially perhaps a small thing has suddenly grown into something much bigger, with the power to upset and hurt everyone. Regard every relationship as a sacred pool of pure water. See the weeds floating on the surface and gently remove them or set them aside. Don't lose the serenity, tranquility, and health the water gives you by concentrating on the weeds. Always deal with every problem with a conscious intent to preserve the purity of your relationships. I have one final one from Marianne Williamson, Illuminata, a very short one. Prayers for deliverance. Dear God, deliver me to my passion. Deliver me to my brilliance. Deliver me to my intelligence. Deliver me to my depth. Deliver me to my nobility. Deliver me to my beauty. Deliver me to my power to heal. Deliver me to you. Amen. So be it. So as we come together, before we sign off, just gaze into the beloved in front of you on the screen. Remember, you are the beloved of God, deeply connected to all things as we flow and rise from Source in our unity consciousness, in the heart of the One, in unconditional love, grace and peace.